Welcome to the deep dive. Today, you're joining us as we explore Lac Qui Parle State Park in Minnesota. It's a really fascinating place.
It really is.
We've gathered quite a bit of material park guides, some historical stuff, even the latest fishing rules, basically, to bring it all together for you. Our mission, really, is just to uncover what makes Lac Qui Parle tick, its key features, the stories behind it, especially for those of you who love learning about new places.
Yeah, the curious explorers and lifelong learners out there.
Exactly. We know you like getting to the heart of things, those little aha moments, and, well, hopefully an engaging chat. So let's jump in.
Okay, sounds good. And just for practical planning, if you're thinking of visiting, Lac Qui Parle is about an hour's drive from Big Stone Lake State Park. So you could potentially hit both.
Oh, that's good to know. A 2-for-1 trip possibility.
Right. And the name itself, Lac Qui Parle, it's French. It means the lake that speaks.
The lake that speaks. Interesting. Hints at something deeper, maybe.
Could be. It definitely sets a tone. Something else to know right off the bat. The park's kind of spread out, 2 main sections.
Yeah.
You'll definitely need your car to get between them and see everything.
Right. Practical point. Good to manage expectations. So, okay, digging into the story of Lac Qui Parle, it becomes pretty clear pretty quickly that its whole landscape is tied up with this huge historical project.
You mean the Lac Qui Parle flood control project?
Exactly, that's the one. And this is where it gets really interesting, I think. This massive thing was built during the Great Depression back in the 1930s.
By the WPA, the Works Progress Administration.
Yeah. Imagine that scale during that time. A park's very form shaped by, well, a defining moment in American history.
And it wasn't just about building something big. It had a very specific purpose, right? The main goal was diverting high water from the Chippewa River, shunting it into Lac Qui Parle Lake to stop floods hitting Montevideo and other towns downstream. It was a serious problem they were trying to solve.
So a massive engineering challenge. And to do it, they built all these structures, many of which are still there, part of the park experience today.
Absolutely. You can still see them. For instance, the Lac Qui Parle Dam. That was finished in '41.
Right, that's the big one, holding back the Minnesota River. That's what actually created Lac Qui Parle Lake as we know it.
Yeah, raised the river level. What was it, about 8 feet, I think?
8 feet, yeah. And then there's Marsh Lake Dam, also 41, creating Marsh Lake, which is 17 miles north or so.
That's right. So it wasn't just one dam. It was a whole system designed to work together.
A coordinated effort.
Exactly. And besides those big dams, you had other key parts, like the Chippewa Control Works from '36 and the Watson-Sag Weir in '37, smaller dams, but vital for diverting that Chippewa River water.
Okay.
But, it's not just about the dams. Think about the Milan Bridge and Causeway. The first bridge there was built in 1938, part of this whole project.
Right, though I think the bridge itself is newer now, replaced recently.
Yeah, the bridge got replaced in 2020 for safety, but they kept and restored the original stone bridge heads in 2021. So you still get that connection to the WPA era right there.
And that causeway, it really speaks to the sheer labor involved, doesn't it? All that hand-placed granite.
Oh, the riprap. Yeah, thousands and thousands of square yards of it.
Just huge stones placed by hand to protect the banks and structures from erosion. You see all along the causeway there and at Marsh Lake Dam, too.
And if you look really closely at some of those stones,
You can still see the drill marks.
you can, from where they hand-split the granite. It's just incredible detail. Speaks volumes about the work back then.
It really does. Thinking about those marks, it makes the human effort, the resourcefulness of that time feel very real. These weren't just functional. They're like monuments.
Exactly. Monuments to overcoming hardship. And it wasn't just riprap either. There's a stone staircase on the causeway west of the bridge, built around '39, also restored recently.
You can picture people using those exact steps back then.
Totally. And then there's the picnic shelter over at, that's now Watson Lions Park. Stone and timber, finished in '39. Another beautiful piece of WPA work, still standing, still being used.
It does feel a bit like stepping back in time in some spots. And here's another cool detail. On the west side of County Road 33, there's apparently a 3-mile line of concrete fence posts. Also WPA from 1939, put there just to mark the project's southwest boundary.
Wow, 3 miles of fence posts, just marking the edge of this massive undertaking. That's a lasting footprint on the land.
It really is.
So when you visit the park, what you're seeing is this kind of dual thing, right? It's a place of natural beauty, but it's also like an open-air museum of 1930s engineering.
It's a great way to put it.
And, for that real aha moment, if you go to the lower campground in the park.
The model.
Yes, there's a 45-foot-long scale model of the entire flood control project, built by the WPA guys themselves.
That's amazing. You can see the whole scope of it laid out.
Yep,
Definitely something to check out.
for sure.
Okay, so beyond that incredible history, which is clearly a huge part of the park's identity, what else can people do there? How do you experience this landscape today?
Well, hiking is an option.
Right, they have hiking club trails.
Yeah, one of them starts from a little parking area just past the group campsites. You look for the blue hiking club sign.
Okay.
The trail notes mention you might wander off the main path a little while exploring, so maybe bring a sense of adventure.
A little exploring off-piste, perhaps? And it's interesting, the flood control project itself kind of created these scenic drives too, didn't it?
That's right, along the shores of the lake.
Yeah, the East Shore, which is part of Chippewa County Road 32, and the West Shore on LQP County Road 33, both offer really nice views.
And along those drives, there are places to stop.
Yep. On the East Side Drive, there's the Lac Qui Parle Mission State Wayside.
Okay.
And then there's Watson Lions Park, which you mentioned that used to be Watson State Scenic Wayside.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you find that great WPA picnic shelter. Right, perfect place to stop, soak in the history and the view, and the lower campground, of course, with the model project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we should also mention again, it's pretty close to Big Stone Lake State Park.
Right, the potential combo trip.
Yeah, if you're in the area anyway, Big Stone Lake has those 3 units: Meadowbrook, Overlook, Bonanza area, restored prairies, wooded trails. You could easily make a few days of it exploring both parks.
Sounds like a great plan for anyone heading to that part of Minnesota. Now, what about fishing? You mentioned the lake and rivers.
Yes, fishing. Definitely an option there. And this is where we need to touch on the Minnesota fishing regulations, specifically the 2025 ones for planning ahead.
Crucial point. If you want to fish, you absolutely need a valid Minnesota fishing license.
No question. You can get it online pretty easily, mndnr.gov buy a license, or find a local license agent.
Okay. And are there special rules for fishing inside a state park?
There are a few things to know. Generally, you can fish from shore on state land within the park, or from a boat, or ice fish on waters completely inside the park boundaries without needing an extra park vehicle permit, just for the fishing itself.
Okay, that's handy.
However, and this is important, if it's a designated trout stream or lake within the park, or if you actually plan to keep any trout,
Then you need more.
then you need both your regular fishing license and a trout and salmon stamp.
Got it. Good distinction. So check if you need that stamp depending on where and what you're fishing for.
Exactly. And of course, all the standard Minnesota fishing rules apply: tackle, bait, methods, how many fish you can keep, how you transport them. It's all in the official regulations booklet or online.
Makes sense. Standard rules apply everywhere. And for boaters.
Ah, yes. Very important. Clean, drain, dispose. Always. Got to prevent spreading those aquatic invasive species. It's everyone's job to protect the waters.
Absolutely. Crucial reminder.
So, wrapping things up a bit, Lac Qui Parle State Park, it's really this compelling mix, isn't it? Natural beauty meets this very tangible human history.
Yeah, the way the landscape and that huge flood control project are just completely intertwined is pretty unique. You can literally see and touch the legacy of the WPA workers.
Right. It connects you directly to that era.
And there's quite a variety of things to do. You can geek out on the historical structures like the dams and causeway, enjoy those scenic drives, or get active with hiking and fishing.
Something for lots of different interests, for sure. A great spot for you curious explorers listening.
Definitely.
Which, leads to maybe a final thought for you to chew on.
Yeah.
How often do these big infrastructure projects from the past end up shaping the places we go for fun today? And the stories those places tell?
That's a really interesting point.
Think about other places that seem totally natural. Might they have surprising human-made roots buried in their history? It kind of encourages you to look a little deeper, doesn't it? Maybe check out the stories behind other Minnesota state parks, too. You never know what hidden histories you might find.